Hello and welcome to Money Tips again. This is Charles Kelly. Do you ever wonder why you never seem to have enough money? Do you ever say to yourself, I don't know where it all goes? If you do, then listen up, because I've got something that I think can help you straight away. Now, I want to share with you a couple of things from my webinar that I'm running this Wednesday. I'm just going to give you a sort of sneak preview and to show you the sort of things I talk about. And one of the things I ask people is, do you ever wonder, where it all goes? Do you ever say, I just don't know where it all goes? Like you get to the third week of the month and you haven't got quite enough money left. Now, if that's the case, then do watch on. Now, I also want to mention that if you like this content, please like and share, because I'm giving this out for free. So I want it to go out to as many people as possible. So do give me the thumbs up, subscribe and all that stuff. I think you know what to do. But, getting back to this is part of what I do on a Wednesday night, or this Wednesday night in my webinar. And I look at how much money you might be wasting at any one time. Everybody wastes some money, and it's usually through lack of money management. So it's not so much about how much you earn or how much you've got in over the years. It's about how much you can keep, right? And if the money just comes in and you don't know where it all goes, then that tells me that you could be like some of these people that will end up at 65 broke. So how do you currently manage your money? How do you currently manage your money? Do you manage your money? And that's a good question. So let me just go back here. Look, this was a survey taken many years ago when I was in the financial services industry. And it says that out of 100 people by age 20, that by the age of 65, which then was the normal retirement age, state retirement age, 36 will be dead. Well, we know that 1 in 4, that sort of period will die of some cause between 20 and 65. 54 will be broke or dependent. 5 had to continue working, and only 5 will be either well off and comfortable or affluent and rich. So look at those numbers. It's a lot of people, out of the it's getting on for like 80% of people will either be dead or broke or dependent on the state or having to keep on working, right? So this is what you want to avoid. And we know that this survey was taken at a time when most people were benefiting from final salary pension schemes, occupational pension schemes that had defined benefits rather than paying out based on your contributions. And even then, these figures were, now I think they're going to get a lot worse in the next few years, because people are just not saving enough. A lot of people are struggling to make ends meet. And a lot of people are sort of wondering where it all goes. That's the situation a lot of people are in at the moment. So if this is the case, then do tune into my webinar. I will go through this in more detail. But we know right now that companies are offering very poor pension schemes. The type of pension schemes that people are contributing now and think they'll be okay are just not going to cut it. They just won't, unless you, of course, you work for the government. You work for a government department, a nurse, a doctor, a fire officer, a policeman, MP, they get brilliant pensions. But the rest of the people are in defined contribution schemes, which means that they will be suffering at retirement because they just won't be able to save enough. It's as simple as that, because the cost of living, which we know is going up all the time, it's just going to. So it really comes down to money management and how you manage your money, how you make more money, and how you make your money work hard for you. So I look at how much money you waste. We look at that in the webinar, and then we look at some people's bank statements, and then talk about a budget planner and how you would manage your money in that way. So we go through a budget planner and really get into grips with your money management. Very, very important. Now, this week, the Bank of England held interest rates at 5.25%. Now, you might say, well, what does that matter to me? I haven't got a mortgage. I don't care about that sort of thing. But it does matter. It matters to you. It matters to the country. It especially matters to business and mortgage holders. But everyone would be worse off if they keep putting up interest rates. Why? Because it's sucking money out of the economy. It's sucking money that people would have otherwise had to spend. And if they're spending money, that revolves around, that goes around, it trickles down to everybody if people are out doing stuff, eating out, spending money, because then, you know, the restaurateurs and the staff in there have money to spend on maybe your products. So it does matter to everybody. It also matters to business, because if they're paying more for their loans and their overdrafts, they have less money to invest in new products, new branches, new jobs. So it matters there. And of course, it matters the housing market. And of course, even if you're renting, look what's happening to rents. Rents are going up because landlords are suffering with higher interest rates, sometimes doubling and trebling their mortgage payments. So what do? They either sell the property, which creates more of a shortage, or they have to say to their tenants, look, I've got to put up rent. I mean, I've had tenants that I didn't put up rents for years. And maybe when they move out, I make it higher for the new tenant. And I'm not a greedy landlord, and most of them aren't. Most of them don't put up rents every year. So it comes as a shock when they might say, well, you know, we haven't put the rent up for 5 years. I've now got to put up rents by quite a bit. And then people get offended and say, why are they greedy landlords and that sort of thing. But perhaps that greedy landlord is having to cope with, you know, higher costs, more red tape, more difficulty getting people evicted and that sort. And of course, the mortgage rates going up as well. So it's a double, triple whammy for landlords, and that's why a lot of them are selling. Now, if you've been hit by Section 24, this higher tax that George Osborne imposed on landlords. Thanks a lot, George. You know, he really did a good job. Now editor of the Evening Standard, I believe, and has a lot of money. We allegedly offshore, and he's got a wealthy family as well. Went to Eton, but for the rest of the landlords, he did a lot of damage. And some landlords now, because of their higher tax rate and who have their properties in their own name, are now having to subsidize their mortgage, because the net amount they get in their pocket is less than they get in rent. So they're having to subsidize it, sometimes by thousands of pounds a month. Now, a lot of them think, well, I better just sell up, just get rid of it and finish. But then you're going to be hit with capital gains tax, and that can be quite a punishing tax, you know. And then what do you do with the money? You know, you're left with this money after tax. How do you invest that? If you put it in the bank, okay, you might get 5%, fine. But what about the longer term growth? It's not going to be there. And a lot of that money could get spent on cars and frittered away and that sort of thing. So it's not the ideal situation to have to sell. You could do nothing and just grin and bear it. But you could also say, well, I'll transfer it to a limited company and then avoid the tax. But the cost of that, and the tax as well, because you're effectively creating a taxable event, a chargeable event, by moving it to a different entity, and then you're going to pay stamp duty as well. So how do you avoid that? Well, in order to help you that, a firm of accountants I work with will be running a seminar on the 28th of November, and they're going to have a few selected people to invite. So if you're interested in that, drop me a line. Or if you're interested in talking to them, drop me a line. So if you're in a position where you've got 3 or more properties in your own name, and you know you're perhaps a higher rate taxpayer, and you're worried about this, or you're worried about becoming a higher rate taxpayer, do drop me a line, charles@charleskelly.net, and I'll put you in touch with them. Or you might want to join the seminar. It's a live seminar in London on the 28th of November. It'll be 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock, something like that. But just thought I'd mention that. So if you getting back to what I first talked about, if you are wondering why you never seem to have enough money, join me on Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. UK time. You can register in the description below, and I will go through a lot of stuff with you to help you get a grip of your money, right? Get a grip of that spending, so that you can start saving and investing for the future. Because if you don't save and you don't invest, look, it's as simple as that. If you don't start putting something aside, you're never going to be able to retire. You'll just have to keep working until you drop. That's fine if you love your job and you're healthy and you're fit and you can do it and someone will employ you. But what if you're not? What if you get sick? You know, it's crazy. People are just not saving enough. They're out spending. They're spending on credit cards. The debt on credit cards is at record levels. The country debt is at record levels. So you've got to get some sanity here. You know, you've got to live on a percentage of your income and save and invest the rest, but invest it in the right way into assets that will grow and help you prosper over the long term, so that you're making your money work hard for you instead of you always working hard for your money. So if you want more tips on that, join me on Wednesday night and I'll see you there. Thanks very much. Charles Kelly, Money Tips. Bye for now.